folks are a wonderful group. Let me just give you an idea, a little bit about my background so you understand why I'm up here and here to help you. Spent most of my life owning or managing drugstores. My first one was downtown Newark, then Patterson, then we had a very busy pharmacy in Manhattan that really almost killed me. I mean, I commuted from Chatham at 5:30 in the morning to get to Manhattan at 7:30, get to the store at 7:45. The delicatessen around the corner brought me a pot of coffee made the way I liked it. They put it on a burner in my office. At 11 o'clock, the pot was empty. Okay, they came back and brought another pot. Okay. I would, in those days, smoke in the pharmacy. So, two pots of coffee a day, plus 2 packs of Camels.
All right, mainline is still alive.
But a lady showed me this morning we have decaf, which is great because that's what I drink. But I literally was an addict. I was addicted to it. But the business that we had, we saw 3,000 to 5,000 customers per day.
Wow.
I had 12 cashiers. We had, every cashier had an assistant. I had floor managers in every aisle in the store. It was just a crazy, incredible pace. But that's where my life began to change, because being in Manhattan, I would get questions about, now I don't want a prescription, what can I take for my blood pressure? That's natural. What can I take to help me detoxify? What can I help me have more energy? My memory's failing, etc. And so I said, geez, you know, why don't you just go to your doctor? And they said, I don't want medicine. You know, I want something natural. So I started processing this, and at that point in time also managed healthcare started appearing. And I learned something else. And I think we're all of an age that will remember this. If you got a prescription, let's say you got a prescription for an antibiotic, you'd go to the drugstore, you'd fill it, the pharmacist said it's $8.99, you paid him $8.99, he gave you the receipt, and you said, you know, I can get 80% of this back if I mail it into my insurance company. Remember that? But for $8.99, I wasn't going to spend an hour, write it, fill out the forms, put a stamp on it, and wait 3 months for $6. Okay, so I pay $8, $9, $10. Most people were comfortable spending $20 for their prescription. Then all of a sudden we got prescription cards. And you went in, got your prescription filled, and then the cashier said, sir, that's $2. You go, $2? Oh, wow. How much would it have cost me? Everybody said, how much would it have cost me? So they go to the pharmacist and goes, Mr. Jones wants to know how much his prescription would have been. Okay, so it comes back, and if you heard $30, you go, wow, I got it for $2. But the underlying thing here that happened is you no longer were the consumer. You no longer said, oh, that's too much money. You no longer said, how much was that? We came back and said, well, your insurance company is being charged $200. You go, oh, great. But we didn't realize that ultimately we're going to pay the price for this. Sooner or later, it all rolls back to us. But what the insurance companies and the drug companies together understood is if they took out the person who was paying, they stopped the pressure on pricing. At that same time, what really began was polypharmacy. We would start getting 6, 7, 8 prescriptions for a patient. That's not right. I was just talking to a gentleman here at the table before. We've got patients seniors who are 14, 15 drugs.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So with what I started to learn in Manhattan, and then what I saw was happening with pharmacy, I said, there's got to be a better way. There's really got to be a better way. And my epiphany really occurred. Now remember, I'm talking about $2 prescriptions. Well, then it started inching up and the copay average went to $5. And people complained about $2 to $5. I'm going, geez, you know, here it is. We're spending $100. We're making $3. And are we really? Is that business? Would you guys go into business if you invested $100 and got $3 as your profit?
3%.
Yeah. Okay. And pay your pharmacist $55 an hour? You know, you can't do it. But, so I happened to walk into a health food store one day in the town, and this is now in Bridgewater when I had that pharmacy. And I saw my customers in there. The people who said, that's $5. And I'm watching the cash register. I'm seeing them spend $80, $90, $100. And you know what? They're asking a kid in a baseball cap for advice. That did it for me. I go, here it is. I've got a pharmacist behind the counter, okay, who's got a PhD in pharm, okay, all this knowledge. And they're asking this kid in a baseball cap. I'm going, oh my God, what's wrong with this? So I really made up my mind. I had started doing some studying. I went back to school to become a clinical nutritionist. And what that means is I work with patients / clients with disease states, helping them find alternative solutions that are compatible with whatever their medical is. I'm not here to have people stop. That's between you and your doctor. Okay? But if you want to know the better things to do, that's what I do. So, let's make this simple. I, in my years, have come up with a basic plan. There are 5 things that everybody can do that can improve their health on a daily basis. Okay? Best thing you can do in the world.
Water.
Good, clean water. That's another issue in this country right now. How clean is our water? You know? Short story, because I can get carried away. I lived in Chatham. Commonwealth Water sent me their statement. Oh, our water is wonderful. So I called them up. I said, I live on Crestwood Drive. How's my water? And they said, well, no, you got the statement. I said, well, you guys have 7 wells. What's my water? Because 7 wells, one's the best, one's the worst. I wanted to know where I was. They said, no, we don't tell you that. So I called my congressman. He goes, really? They can't tell you that? He said, I'll have an aide check. A week later I call back, yep. They're not legislated to, and they won't do it unless they're legislated to disclose your water.
Oh my God.
My only option was to have it tested. So we were redoing the kitchen. So I go to the local plumbing house and I said, you know what, I want a 5-stage reverse osmosis water filter. He said, where do you live? I said, in Crestwood and Chatham. He goes, you guys got great water. I said, do you want to sell me a filter? Or do you want to argue with me? He goes, no, I'll sell you a filter. I said, because you know, it's going to be $900 to $1,000. Okay. So the instructions were, there's 5 filters. Pull stage 1 at 1 year and replace. Pull stage 2 at 18 months to 24 months. In 3 months, I pulled stage 1, filled with garbage. 3 months. So I took it back to the guy at the plumbing supply. I said, 3 months. What about my water? I said, if you want a testimonial, I said, I'll give it to you. Our water's rotten. Anyhow, good, clean water. Let's not get political about it. If you're thirsty, drink. drink water. A goal, a rule of thumb is half your body weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, that's 100 ounces. Okay?
A day?
You drown.
No, you won't. No, okay, even better. So,
The gin looks the same.
and tonic water is good for you. Right? Well, I had a sales rep. I had a vitamin manufacturing company. I had a sales rep on the road. She came to me. She was 38. She said, I feel like I'm 60. I said, what do you mean? No energy, sluggish, brain fog, etc. I said, how much water do you drink? She goes, you know, I work for you. I'm in the car all day long. I can't drink water. I said, I want you to drink half your body weight in ounces. She weighed 130 pounds, 65 ounces. For 1 week, yes, she was stopping at every store she visited, but after 1 week, your body adjusts to it, and you don't start urinating. As a matter of fact, you urinate less because the urine isn't irritating to the bladder. Remember, this is waste products. The more dilute, the less caustic it is. The less dilute it is, the more concentrated those toxins are. It's going to irritate the tissue. So the best thing on anything, okay, be active. Active. I don't care if it's walking this way and you walk a half a mile, or you walk like this. Be active. Be as active as you possibly can. Because what that does is it improves circulation. When you improve circulation, what happens? Everything in your body functions so much better. Everything. So those are the underlying guide rules. First thing that you can add to...
Coffee doesn't count?
Actually, for every cup of coffee, you have to add another 8 ounces of water. And he just gave the reason because it's a diuretic.
Yep.
It causes flushing. Okay. Human beings, Claude here. Claude is made up of 30 trillion cells. 30 trillion cells make Claude up. His hair, his eyes, his skin, his nails, the organs in his body, the blood, all of that, 30 trillion cells. If Claude is healthy and has been eating right, and we'll talk about eating right, but everything going well, has minimal stress in his life, his gut, his GI, has 100 trillion helper bacteria. It's 3 times as many cells as Claude has. They help us digest our food. They make B vitamins, so they give us energy and vitality. They make neurotransmitters. They help us sleep, improve our mood, improve our quality of life. Okay? They make our hormones. So our estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, it's not made by the body. It's made by these little bacteria that live inside this. So the first thing that we have to do is make sure that we've got a good colony of bacteria living inside of us. What's the worst thing we can do to these bacteria?
Antibiotics.
That's a good thing, yeah. Antibiotics will destroy them. What else? Well, think about antibiotics. Where do we get antibiotics?
Well, drug companies.
Right, but where else?
For our foods.
Chicken,
Yeah, beef,
okay, beef,
milk.
pork, milk. Okay. That's not good. Do you know, we all know Roundup, right? Know of Roundup? Okay. There is Roundup now routinely found in breast milk of American mothers. Yeah. We don't eat Roundup, or do we? Yeah, we do. So, yeah, it's a weed killer. Yeah, isn't that great? Nursing moms giving it to their babies now.
But that's,
Yeah.
that's a good killer, right?
Okay,
Really?
so
Killers.
we have antibiotics that are a
That's
problem.
not-
We have
what is that?
chemical exposures that are problems, all right? Stress. Stress kills the good bacteria. The biggest enemy is sugar.
Ooh.
Sugar feeds the bad bacteria, and it incapacitates the good bacteria. How much sugar do you think the average American eats per person per year? I got to vote. How much?
Well,
I hear 100.
actually, you can, I did a calculation, it's about 100 grams a day.
Yeah. The number in the U.S. right now, including foods, so not direct,
Yeah.
including foods, is 180 pounds per person per year. Half a pound a day.
Wow.
In all sources. We're not feeding the good bacteria. The good bacteria, their food, vegetables. They love vegetables.
So are you trying to tell us to go vegan?
No, I'm not telling you anything. I'm just laying it out, you know? So how do you achieve that? You achieve it by balance.
Sure.
You look at your plate, okay? And if all it is chicken or steak and a white potato, you're not doing it. So that chicken or steak, you can have a potato. Again, that's simple carbohydrate. But let's put some green beans there. Let's put some broccoli there perhaps. Let's some asparagus, some cauliflower. Now you're feeding both your body, which needs the protein, and you're feeding the bacteria that are there, but you're also getting all the polyphenols, antioxidants that come from those vegetables. But you're feeding those good bacteria. So, antibiotic use, steroid use, all kill these beneficial bacteria. I'll try and make this a short story. A year and a half ago, a gentleman came to me and said, "You've got to help me. My 12-year-old daughter has ulcerative Crohn's disease. It started when she was 8 years old. Her mother died suddenly. Her bowels started deteriorating since then." This is 4 years later. He goes, "Bob, the GI doctor just told me that they're going to remove Vanessa's large intestine. She was bleeding from her intestines every day, day in, day out. They had no alternative." I said, "Joe, I just met this person. I met him 2 weeks ago. He has what I believe to be the best probiotic on the planet." He looked at me and goes, "The best probiotic on the planet?" "Good bacteria, beneficial bacteria." I said, "Yeah." I said, "From talking to him, he can help you." I said, "I don't know enough." I said, "So I'm going to give you his phone number. His name is Robert. He's in Sydney, Australia. Please call him." I spoke to Joe actually last night. He called me to ask to give him a note because I had given the school a note that she was to be excused from attending school because she was having constant random bowel movements that were uncontrollable and painful, etc. And so I had given him a note to have her homeschool. He goes, "Vanessa's ready to go back to school. large intestine not removed, no surgical procedure. She's a happy, smiling 13-year-old girl. Yes, that's what Dad said. And because he said that, remember I said bacteria makes neurotransmitters? That's what it's doing. She's a happy, smiling kid going back to school with 2 bowel movements a day that are normal. This is life-changing. I have seen personally, man came with Parkinson's. You know Parkinson's? So I had a plastic cup and filled it with water and it was empty. I dosed him with 3 trillion human bacteria. 10 minutes, he was able to drink. It's not permanent. He has to do this every day. But I'd be rather taking human bacteria than taking a drug that isn't going to do anything for me.
The vitamin.
Poured him in his mouth.
Like, in what form?
Water.
In water, in a little bit of water, and I poured it right into his mouth.
So you're just talking about water?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I just mixed a little bit in water, poured it right into his mouth.
It's not just
Not just water,
Yeah, the bacteria.
the bacteria too.
mixed bacteria into the water.
I put
How do we get the bacteria?
in a sachet.
He sells them.
They actually produce these things?
Yes,
He
Sure.
pays
That's
for
what
it.
I'm trying to find out.
yes,
I don't get it.
yeah.
Huh.
Except this is the strongest one on the planet. And the difference of the one that I'm using in this case is all of our probiotics until recently came from cows or pigs.
Wow.
What a smart country we are. Okay? We do that with hormones, women's hormones, estrogen. You know what estrogen, okay, the original estrogen was Premarin. Premarin stands for pregnant mare urine. So we were giving women urine from female horses. Okay? The original Caesar, and I don't remember Caesar's wife at that time. Do you know what they did? They had 2 pools. They had boys urinate in this pool over here, and they had girls urinate in this pool over here. Okay? And he knew about testosterone 2,000 years ago. He had his people dry it, powder it, and he ate it. And his wife got it from the teenage girls.
His wife's name was Calpurnia.
Calpurnia, thank you.
Well, no.
Yeah,
But he got stabbed.
but you see what happened? Because they wanted the testosterone. But you see, so the bulk of what we use as probiotics comes from cows or pigs. This guy decided that he's going to get human.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that makes sense. Shouldn't it be species specific? Okay? I've
That's
got
not the idea.
I've got other probiotics that I sell that people tell me, oh, it's great. I said, how do you know it's great? Well, when I don't take it, the symptoms come back. Well, now I'm in the pharmaceutical companies again. No, I don't want to do that. So using human live bacteria is the solution.
How do you extract that?
Actually, okay, interesting. The owner of the company, Robert Bissons, he's now in his 28th year. He originally studied birth, vaginal swabs, rectal swabs, urine of both mom and baby, and breast milk. Had the lab analyze them all. Each one had the same bacteria. So then he said, okay, we're going to take breast milk. We're going to isolate the bacteria, separate them from the breast milk, see if they culture, in other words, see if we can grow them in lab. Okay. isolate them, make sure that we're not putting any other bad bacteria in there, because there are some bad bacteria that are there at that point in time. Isolated all of them, then studied another group of population, us, and what bacteria do we not have that are there at time of birth. And that's how we did it. And so that's it. So these are all the bacteria that if you were born vaginally, normal birth, these are the bacteria that would be delivered to you. And this is also remarkable because at the same time I started doing some research. Remember I said sugar feeds the bad bacteria and vegetables feed the good bacteria? Well, the part of vegetables that feed the good bacteria are called oligosaccharides. They're a non-human digestible form of sugar, okay? Not a sweetener, but actually a different compound. Well, in 2008, a researcher out in the University of Southern California discovered that in breast milk, moms produce an oligosaccharide that has no other purpose than to feed the bacteria, because it has no other human purpose. So in this great plan of creation, the body of women mammals produce oligosaccharides to feed the beneficial bacteria that mom has just delivered to her infant. It's incredible. And it took us hundreds of years to get to that point. We've been using probiotics for over 100 years in one way or another, but now we're at the point where we're really starting to understand how it happens.
So, but how is it manufactured and distributed? That's what I don't understand. How is it extracted?
They take the bacteria and then culture. And that culture hasn't changed. It's in a laboratory in Switzerland. And every order, they grow a batch. They start feeding it. Or you can grow it yourself